Today we are going to be looking at those aspects of functions, but we're going to be looking at it all put together. So we have our function here on our graph. Question number 1, does the graph have a local min, a local max, neither, or both? So as we go through, we see this first point here, well that's a maximum value. Here's a max, here's a max. If I go to the bottom, here is a local min and another local min. So this graph is going to have both a local min and a local max. Number 2, is negative 8, 4 a local minimum or a local max? So negative 8, 4, we're talking about this point right here. And we already labeled that as a maximum point. What about 3, negative 2? 3, negative 2? That one right there is going to be a minimum. Remember, max means it's higher than the rest in that area. A minimum is it's lower than the rest in that area. Is the function increasing or decreasing? All right, so a reminder, our intervals, this is the difficult part. My interval is in terms of x. So it's saying from a negative 8 to a negative 4 in the x horizontal. So negative 8 to a negative 4. We're looking at everything in between a negative 8 and a negative 4. As I follow my line from a negative 8 to a negative 4, and I'm going left to right, my line has a negative slope. It is going to be decreasing. Our next interval is from 15 to a positive infinity. Because we're talking about x's, that positive infinity is talking about going to the right. So from 15 forever to the right, I see that my line is going down. So again, that is going to be decreasing. Number 5 is the function increasing or decreasing. This time our interval is from 0 to 3. From 0 to 3. And from 0 to 3, once again, we have a negative slope, giving me a decreasing interval. Our last one here for this interval is negative 4 to 0. So here's negative 4, here's 0. My function in between negative 4 to 0, when I'm moving it from left to right, this time it actually has a positive slope, giving us an increasing interval. So 7 and 8 is going to be our end behavior. So for number 7, as x goes to infinity, remember, what is x in terms of? X is moving left and right. So as I go to the right, because it's a positive infinity, what's happening to my f of x, which is my y? So I look at the far right of my graph, the end to the right. My arrow is facing down, which means my y is going down, which is going to be a negative infinity. Number 8, as x goes to a negative infinity, which means as x goes to the left, what's going to happen to the y? When I look to the right or to the left, my arrow is also going down. So this is also going to be a negative infinity. Number 9, as x goes to a negative 9 or x goes to a positive 9, what is f of x? So it's that function notation. When x is 9, here's 9, I find my function. What is the y value? This coordinate is at 9, 10. So when x is 9, my f of x or my y is going to be 10. That's just a fancy way of doing what we did down here. So find the value. When x is a negative 4, what is y? Look at our graph. When x is a negative 4, here's negative 4. What is my y value? It's going to be a negative 3. Find the value of f is 0. Here's when x is 0. When x is 0, we're going up, and we find that we have a y value of 6. What are the values of x for which the function equals 0? Well, it equals 0. This is just a really fancy way of finding all of those x-intercepts. So if I look up here, let's find, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different places where my function is equal to 0. We have it at -9, -7, -1, 1, 5, and 15. Did I get them all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And last is our domain and range. So what we've got to remember here is that the domain is in terms of x. So that is our movement left and right. As we look, this arrow right here on the left means that I'm forever going to the left. I look upon my graph, there's no breaks. This arrow means that I'm forever going to the right. That means there are no restrictions. My domain is all real numbers. Now my range, which is in terms of y, that's my movement up and down. So as I follow my movement up and down, I see this arrow is pointing down, this arrow is pointing down. There's no arrow pointing up. So as I'm going up and down my graph, I realize that this is the highest my function gets. Everything in this graph is below that value. And remember, range is in terms of your movement up and down, which corresponds to the y value. So in that point, everything is going to be below 10. So my range is y is going to be less than or equal to 10. All right, so those are all the aspects of our function put there in one spot for you.